Jesus, I love you. Oh my. And you are welcome in. You're welcome in this place. I'm lost without you. Can't do nothing without you. Oh no. And you are welcome in. You're welcome in this place. My heart says yes. My heart says yes to your will, to your way. And you are welcome in. You're welcome in this place. Oh, ooh, oh my, oh my.
Greetings. Yes.
Happy summer.
Oh gosh. You know what? Summer is not my time of the
Oh,
year.
my
No.
time. Totally my
Oh
time.
no, I'm a winter baby. I like the winter and the fall. I love snow. But
Well.
anyway,
Greetings.
welcome to Mentor Me Memorable Moments.
Yes.
I am your host, Tracy Everette.
And I'm your co-host, William Craig III.
And we've been looking for you. We couldn't wait to get back here to see you.
How many nations?
All 135 nations
And
in all 50 states.
there we go.
Could not wait to see you
Yes,
again.
indeedy.
Yeah, so if you are connected with us on social media, you know that this is our physical health segment. And we have Sir Charles Carey,
Sir Charles, yes.
who's going to be coming up on the first half. And then we're going to talk to you a little bit about that $10,000 blow. And
Yeah.
people are wondering, what in the world can one blow?
It's not the kind of blow some of
That's
you are
what I
thinking about.
We're thinking it's not that kind of blow. But William and I are going to be talking about that the second half. But, you know, Sir Charles and I kind of connected on the internet,
Not
social
surprised.
media.
I'm
yeah,
not
he's a
surprised.
big guru out there with health and wellness.
Motivational, transformational.
Yes,
He's what they
exactly.
call the man.
He is the man. I call him the Renaissance man.
All right. I
And
like that.
he was not able to join us live in the studio, but we do have him on call.
His
Sir
voice.
Charles Carey, are you there?
I am here live and uncensored. How are you?
I am
Right.
wonderful. We are
Excellent.
wonderful. Well, you know, I have a little video that I want to introduce to everyone. I want to introduce you in this video. So, Eric, if you have that video 001, can you roll that, please? Everyone, let me introduce you to Sir Charles Carey.
When was the last time you heard a speaker or trainer excited about their message and sold on delivering that message to you? Sir Charles Carey, the motivator, the educator, the Amazon bestseller, the alternative recourse expert. He says the right mindset is all you need. Warm, heartfelt, and meaningful. You've seen him in the community. You've seen him in the media. Sir Charles Carey, two-time cancer survivor and full-time life encourager. From New York to Texas, Boston to Chicago, Detroit to DC. Charles has been on radio, television, and in print. A Toastmaster, a counselor, and a member of the National Speakers Association. He's touched lives around the country, and now he's got the Cure series just for you. The creator of Radiate the Brain and Change the Game, and the author of the Amazon bestseller, Courage Facing Mortality. Cancer wasn't my only obstacle. Whether he's training in government or speaking to private industry, he believes in speaking with purpose and training with passion. The alternative recourse expert, Sir Charles Carey.
All right.
Hello, Sir Charles Carey.
All right.
And
The
hello,
first
Everyone out there, this is Sir Charles Carey. He is here. He is, like you said, motivational speaker. He's been jet setting all over the place. So I know you have a lot to talk to us about and what you're doing. But the first thing I'd like you to do is introduce yourself.
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me on the show. I definitely appreciate your interest in my message, and I'd like to say thank you to your listeners. And I know they have so many things they could be doing, but I'm honored and grateful that they would take time out to view the program and sharing this message. Basically, I'm just a regular guy that it took me a minute, but I kind of found where I belonged in the world, and I found where God wanted me to be, and I'm so grateful for each opportunity to share that. I'm a grandfather, a father. I've been around for a little while. Music is in my background. The creative arts is a part of my background, which I'm in love with the ability to be creative. And I think that was the foundation and training ground that really placed me where I am today. So I am truly honored to use the gifts that have been given to me, but not for me.
All right. And like I said, Renaissance man.
Yes, indeed.
But, Sir Charles, I know that you've had some challenges. And and not only just being able to define what your destiny is, but also some physical challenges.
Right.
So before we get to the physical challenge, let's talk about how you got on this road to do what you are doing today. What happened in your life?
Well, like many people, trying to learn how to live life on life's terms came with some failures and some successes, but more failures than anything else. Again, I go back to my God-given talent with music and the art of creativity. I thought that was going to be the gateway for me, and again, it was the training ground. I made many mistakes. I was a substance abuser for over 20 some odd years. Never thought that I would be free from that lifestyle.
That's great that you are.
That kind of segued into a few other things, but I don't want to jump the gun as far as saying too much. I want you to keep me where I need to be in the interview process.
Oh, okay. That sounds great. Okay, so you've had some failures, and was there at any time when you said, you know what, the heck with this, I'm not trying anymore?
Well, what it was my children. Actually, I was beginning to be a seasoned adult, and I looked around and I saw where I was at, and it was a shame. It was pitiful. You always think you're in control. You think you know everything, or you think you know enough because you're an adult. But sometimes you have to face the fact that you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes you also have to face the fact, whether you're an adult or not, we are powerless over vices. We're powerless over some of our own decisions. And our own decisions sometimes turn out to be our greatest demise. But I like to tell people when I share my story, I just speak around the country, that my children saved my life. God convicted me through the eyes of my children, and they were very young. But that was the beginning of the transition, that 180-degree transition in my life. Once I, looked into their eyes and realized the kind of life and groundwork that I was laying out for them, I couldn't do it anymore.
Right. And that reminds me, William, of when we were down at the Salvation Army and we were given celebration, graduation parties and things like that for them, and honoring the clients there. One actually came to us, Sir Charles. She was a grandmother, and she said, your program made me realize that I don't want to be here anymore, and if I continue to stay here, then I'm going to see my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren here. She came to that awareness too, just like you described.
Yes.
Okay.
And just to kind of throw in there, what we find too is that it's not always the failures, quote unquote, the visible failures in our lives that bring us to that moment. Because I recently had a class where I was sharing with some folks who were, from all appearances, very successful in their lives. But there was one gentleman that I talked to who realized this isn't really where I'm supposed to be.
Okay.
And so though he's everyone looks at him and says, "You're a success. You're making good money. You're making six figures, and you're doing what I would hope to be able to do." He's saying, "Guess what? This isn't where I'm supposed to be."
Yeah.
And so unless I change, I make a change now, and that was part of the impetus, that the conversation we had was the impetus for him to see that, you know what, I really need to make a change. So
point well made, yeah, because I tell a lot of people that some of the trials and tribulations in my life is not who I was. It was just something I did. It's not significant of my signature in life, my footprint. It's just an activity that was a learning lesson. Because, let's face it, if you're open to, what God wants for you, if you're really seeking more, to do more, be more, and have more, the only way to do it is to be still. And everyone has their own time.
Right.
It's not about,
Exactly.
it's not my time or your time. It's
Right.
God's time.
Right. Exactly. So now here we are. You are at this fork in the road, and you decide that change is necessary in my life, and you struggle to get out of this, and now you are out of it. And so you have this dream, this desire now to do something different. Do what?
Funny thing was, I was like, wow, I'm not on drugs anymore. I got an epiphany. This is great. Eyes wide open. So it's so clear now. I'll write a book.
Okay.
So I wrote my first 40 pages, and then I got stuck.
Okay.
Because I had never written a book before.
Right.
Again, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
And from there, I went to a doctor once because I was going to be a mentor. And I did continue to be a mentor, but the doctors found out that they saw something on the x-ray, and I found out that I was diagnosed with cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I was like, whoa, I did all this, and now I've got cancer?
Wow.
Right.
So I waited because I did not believe in exploratory surgery. I didn't want them cutting me open. I didn't want to be involved with any of that nonsense because I didn't understand it, and I didn't want to take a chance sort of in the blind. Now, I do and did have faith, but I had to educate myself and be educated about this disease called cancer. So I waited, and I went to Johns Hopkins. I got a second opinion, came back only to find out that it had spread it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it was overwhelming, and it's just because you never think it's you. It's always somebody in the newspaper,
Right.
or someone in your family, or something like that. But I got the answers. I moved forward. I was clear, so I thought, but it came back 8 years later, coupled with jaundice.
Wow.
So, I was really in bad shape. Actually, the doctor said that I was close to death and had never seen anyone in my condition. And I'm just grateful that that second time around, once again, getting chemo and a little something else, coupled with my faith, I was able to bounce back. And here I am today with 3 books and a whole bunch of different things that I've done.
Great. We have a clip of you out there teaching in the circuit. And Eric, if you can take a look at video 002, let's start that at 2 minutes and 46 seconds and let it run through. This is something that you said in one of your TV promos.
Okay.
Are we good, Eric?
Easily influenced by. You have to realize, in order to get what you want, you have to do something different. Sometimes you have to learn to be uncomfortable until you can become comfortable in the area that you really want. You see, everyone has a skill, a talent, a gift, or an ability, but most of us don't look for it.
Charles,
Yes, ma'am.
here you are now. You're in the circuit. You are doing what you love to do because that is that creative piece of you. And I mean, you're going strong in the Lord. You feel like you've overcome whatever problems you may have had in the past, and you're just moving forward. And all of a sudden, you get hit again with the notion that your cancer has returned. And that could have taken you out of the circuit. It could have made you feel defeated, but it didn't. Why? What did you do, or what did you have that was so different than anyone else who's feeling this right now?
Well, the only thing I can attribute it to is God. I mean, again, my faith has always been pretty solid, and yes, I am a positive person, but it's more than positivity. There's always a feeling when you have a relationship with God, and I'm not trying to preach to you, but the truth is not going to change. When you have a positive relationship with God, we have this thing called discernment, and the presence or the ability to discern many times it's sort of a measuring tool or a monitor. It lets you know where you're at, because if you're an addict, most times it doesn't take much of anything to throw you back into that lifestyle. It doesn't take much of anything to get you worrying about your circumstance. And for the life of me, I really cannot explain why, when I was first diagnosed, or even the second diagnosis with cancer, why was it that I was not afraid? Because most people are afraid.
Yes.
And I just knew that God had me, and I knew also that God had me for a purpose. Now, it could be that, yes, I'm here for a purpose, and I accept that wholeheartedly, and it could be because of the fact that many of the men in my family, they fell to being murdered, to substance abuse. In my direct line I'm talking about. And I was the last male that I was really on the road to taking myself out. So my life, I feel, was preserved because I have one son. And maybe my life was preserved, not so much just for my family, but for a lesson, a learning tool, a learning opportunity for those who know me, those who see me, those who may cross my path, that they too can overcome even the greatest odds and the greatest of spiritual warfare.
Wow.
Right,
I mean, I'm feeling this.
Seldom, Sir Charles, is it about us.
Yes, absolutely.
And when we embrace that and understand that, I believe that gives God the opportunity to use us. We become, as it were, a blank page that he can then write on so that others can read and learn about him through our lives.
That's right, because the Bible says we are walking epistles. We are the testimonies that people are supposed to see. You have a strong testimony. Your presence on social media is very strong and inviting. That's why I asked you on this program, because there was something about you that captured me that I had to get to know you. And now I hear it. Yes, now I hear it. And so now I understand the following that you have, because you're not just talking buzzwords. You're just not talking the newest technique out there. You're talking right out of your heart and soul.
He's lived it.
Yes, yes, exactly.
You talk about transformation.
People really have to radiate, bring, and change. Again, just like the book title, you have to change the way you look at things, the way you view things, the way you internalize things. And when you do that, it will change the outcome and the trajectory of where you're supposed to land and the path in which will take you there.
Just like you said, so how there are a number of people when you're teaching or instructing or lecturing that have no idea what their destiny is, or even if they're walking in that path. Oh my.
I mean, they say that most people don't participate or won't participate in their own rescue. And that is so sad, but I understand, because when you're an addict, you want so very bad to get the next one. Or you want so very bad to stop. And you are literally powerless, although you have the freedom of choice. You can't overcome your choice because your mindset is wrong. Your mindset is not strengthened. Your spiritual man inside of you won't confront the carnal side, and you fall weak, to your flesh each and every time.
So, Charles, let me ask you this about choice, because you teach a lot on the fact that we have a choice and that people need to make choices. How do you get that person to understand when they have that battle going on? How do you really get them to understand and embrace the fact that they have a choice and make the right choices for their lives?
Well, as a transformational leadership strategist, that's pretty much what I do in either the coaching, workshops, or trainings. And I think one of the key components is to get people to, first of all, be quiet, and to be still.
Yes.
That don't mean
Wow.
Yes.
necessarily, right?
Can I put it in layman's terms to get them to just shut
Shut
up?
up.
Sit down and shut up.
But you know what? To literally, physically be quiet, but to internally be quiet too.
Right. Right.
Because when you're still or when you're quiet, you could be listening to calm music, jazz. You can listen to no music at all. You know, like sometimes when you come home, don't turn on the radio. In fact, don't even get on the computer right away. Sometimes give yourself 5-10 minutes to be still, and you hear answers to things you need, and you'll hear answers to prayers you prayed, and you will hear God speaking to you in ways that you don't even realize. You're like, oh wow, that's a good idea. Yeah, but that idea was just sent to you directly from God.
Right. I guess that's why he said, "Be still and know that I am God."
Yes. So, but it's a combination of things. It's being still and quiet, but it's also having a desire for more. And in this case, it's to have change in your life.
Right.
Now, of course, when it's detrimental, it's hard to say, I want change, because detrimental makes people do desperate things. However, no situation is singular. Everything is compounded. You may be desperate, but that could be an opportunity for you to create the change you need. If you are not desperate, you may not have gotten to your lowest point. However, you still can be an exception to create the change you need in your life. So what I do and what I need to find out for that individual, what are your motivations? What are your interests? I have to do some soul searching. I have to get away from the surface information. I have to get some core information to help that individual through the process.
The root of it.
That's great.
Yes.
The
Yes,
root.
sir.
Now, you mentioned your book, and I know you're an author of many books. There's one particular book that we would like for everyone to engage with. So, Eric, we actually have a video 003. If you can load this is Sir Charles's promo, and I am planning on getting this product as well. So let's roll that tape.
Hey, this is Sir Charles Carey. I'm so excited. I'm right here in Arlington, Virginia, and I'm just excited because my book came out. You know, I've been talking about the book is coming, the book is coming. I've been training, I've been speaking, I've been all over the place. Well, the book is finally out, right here. Radiate the brain and change the game. Listen, finding the cure for the cancer in your business and existence, it's not an easy task. But when you have someone to hold your hand or guide you along the way, that's what makes the difference. The right mindset is all you really need. And I've been saying that because it's so true. This book is filled with 15 chapters of tips, hints, and insights and exercises to get you on your way. Take you from point A to point B, wherever that may be for you. The audio program, it addresses some of the same things, but from a different perspective. We're talking about the people, the places, the things that you do. That is what's going to determine how dedicated, how committed you are to achieving your ultimate goal. Remember, radiate the brain and change the game. The right mindset is all you need.
Great.
Yes.
And I love the branding, Sir Charles, because I pick up on the buzzwords radiate and other things that you're saying there.
Thank you.
Just magnificent. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
What I love most about it is that it has audio. And so I can plug it in when I'm traveling and listen to it and be inspired and be held accountable because there's a workbook.
Right, and that's
great. That's the key right there when you said it, to be accountable. You know, in this case, it's like we're all adults, so you don't need. Now, some people want, depending on what coaching program they get, they may want that personal touch, but you don't need anyone to keep you honest with yourself.
Right.
Wow.
And if you are honest with yourself, this book set can do wonders for you because the audio, it focuses on the people, places, and things specifically. There's the pros and cons of people, the pros and cons of the places you go, and the pros and cons of the things that you do. Whereas the book and the workbook, you know, there, like I said, there's 21 chapters in all, but 15 chapters are interactive. And that causes you to assess yourself give you an idea of what path you need to be on to get to that desired destination.
Right.
Well, we'll be looking for our autographed copy soon.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
But now, Sir Charles, I know you are out there again in social media, and you're around the circuit, from state to state, and from hopefully nation to nation.
Well, he's
135 nations are
National
tuned
Speakers
in.
Association member. Yeah, he's out there.
Okay,
for sure.
all right. So, I know people want to connect with you after looking at this show. Can you tell us how we can reach you via on social media? And Eric, I think we have a slide as well. Yes.
Okay. Well, I am on the majors, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, of course. And it's all usually going to find me Sir Charles Carey. Carey is spelled C-A-R-Y. So if you go to Facebook or any of the other major social profiles, just put in Sir Charles Carey, and you should be able to find me. Either they're listed as a transformational leadership strategist or as an alternative recourse expert. Same thing, just one is more searchable. So, but what I would like to do for your listeners is offer a $10 discount for those who get the book set. And I think that they will find that this book set is more than rewarding because, again, all you got to do is be honest with yourself, and you will get the desired results that you need. Now, participating in your own rescue is key. It's just simply key.
Participate in your own rescue. That is a tweetable.
That it is. It's a tweetable.
Participate in your own rescue.
And take Sir Charles up on that offer, too, and get that $10 discount for his package package product.
Yes, that's wonderful.
So are there any closing words you would like to let us know or leave us with about Sir Charles Carey?
Well, the Cure Tour, we've been in 7 cities and states since last year, which truly is not enough. I would love the opportunity of serving anyone that's under the sound of my voice. You have a program, an association, a nonprofit, bring me in. I would love the opportunity to add value to your team, to your organization. We have many other topics that we coach and teach also. We do the public speaking workshops. We also do the customer service workshops. So we have something that will help your team evolve and get to the place that you need to get to. And, we have a truly a passion for what we do. As we say, we're speaking with purpose and training with passion. And that's just a true nuance of our angle in this game.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Excellent. So we want to thank you again for joining us at MentorMe Memorable Moments.
A virtual round of applause.
Oh, yeah, I wish we could do that.
I received that. Thank you so much.
Well, we're going to shift into our second segment. And Sir Charles, you are welcome to stay with us and interact with us. Or, you can disconnect during the break. We will definitely meet up with you again in the social arena. But we're going to take a look at video 004 and shift into our second segment, which deals with that $10,000 blow. So, Eric, if you could roll that videotape, cost of the DUI exceeding.
Police, of course, will be on high alert for anyone drinking and driving tonight. So how much will it cost you if you're caught driving drunk? Ben Cisenko is live at the Sacramento County Courthouse with the answer.
Shannon, we all know that drunk driving and getting caught drunk driving will most likely get you a night in jail and an appearance here at the courthouse, but it'll also take a big dent out of your wallet. How much will it cost? The answer may surprise you.
It costs almost up to $10,000.
Probably more than most hope to spend on New Year's Eve plans.
I've always been pretty good at math, and I've learned that a taxi is a lot cheaper.
The CHP offers a laundry list of costs from DUIs to reach the $10,000 number, including fines, impound fees, DUI treatment programs, court costs, insurance increases, and attorney fees. Still, some were shocked about how costly it is.
Several $1,000s for sure.
$10,000 is the average.
Is it really now?
Instead of a night in jail, a criminal record, and a lot of hassle, we looked at alternative ways one could spend the $10 grand.
For those of you hoping to take home an iPad for the holidays, for the cost of a first-time DUI, you could have taken home 20 iPads. Who couldn't use a little time away? Instead of spending a night in a jail cell and spending all that money for a DUI, you can buy 2 first-class tickets on Hawaiian Airlines round trip. Plus, you could stay at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel for 7 nights in an ocean view room. If you're not into spending money on yourself, for the cost of that first-time DUI, you could feed 20 children here at Loaves and Fishes for all of 2013.
Tonight is one of the busiest nights for police. The CHP plans to have all available officers out on patrol, with one main focus: finding drivers under the influence.
I could buy a car. I mean, you can buy a nice used car for $10,000.
Puts it in perspective. Now, we all know that magic number 0.08, the blood alcohol limit. Well, today I found out that if you're caught with above a 0.05, 2.8, the police officer has the discretion to charge you with DUI if he or she feels that you are driving impaired. So please be careful tonight.
It's just not worth it. Safety is paramount. Okay, Ben, thank you.
Yeah,
So what
very
did you
cool.
think about that?
Very, very cool. And, you know, I heard something recently that, and it's very unfortunate, but the state of Maryland is one of the, how do I say this? It's one of the more lenient states when it comes to DUI and DWI in crimes. And what that means simply is that an individual who in the state of Maryland has actually gone through the process, been labeled a drunk driver, yes, in as much as they will incur the fines, etc., they can still get behind the wheel time and time again. And that was it was sad to hear. Because at the end of the day, you want to get these people off of the roads.
Right.
And other states have laws that, matter of fact, I did a commercial for a guy who actually has a program where he's challenging people to act as if they are someone who's been convicted of drunk driving for just one day, which means can't drive your car, have to get public transportation or a ride, find out what it's like to have your license revoked. He says, do it for a day. Find out how hard it is to just do the normal things you would do in one day. And hopefully that will be incentive for you to not get behind the wheel after drinking. And as I always say, I love the other commercial that says buzzed driving is drunk driving.
It is drunk driving. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, get that little bit of high and still get locked up for it.
Yeah.
You heard what the newscaster said is that cops are able to now determine if you are at 0.05, they can arrest you for DUI then.
Right.
You know, you're in handcuffs.
Right.
You only get one phone call and you're going before the judge. And you got to figure it out as you go along. They're not going to say, oh, excuse me, my bad, you know, we'll let you loose. No, you go through the paperwork and unravel that.
And one of the things that wasn't mentioned in the news piece there, the newsreel, just like we were talking about in one of the previous shows about bad credit affecting your ability to get jobs and insurance,
Yes,
etc.
yes.
Well, guess what, folks? You get this DUI or DWI on your record,
That's right.
and it can also impact your ability to get jobs and get favorable insurance, etc.
Exactly. Oh, we're going to talk about so much in this second half. So, Eric, would you load the slides for us, please? Let's take a look at this $10,000 blow, okay? And get your mind out of that dirtiness. So, you know what? Next slide, please. You just blew $10,000. So we know that drunk driving, there's an issue with this if somebody is drinking and driving and really not, I can't say they don't care.
Right.
It's just, like Sir Charles mentioned, you know, sometimes failures and substance abuse does something to you. You don't have that control.
And the other thing that he said that I'll be honest, I'll be transparent. Back in the day, I've been there, done that, and you don't think it's going to happen to you. You see it as happening to everybody else. You see it in the news. You read it, but no, that's not going to be me.
And then there it is.
Exactly.
Okay. So when we look at alcohol being impaired, you know, there are so many motor vehicle crashes that cost more than an estimated $37 billion annually.
What could we do with $37 billion?
Oh my gosh, like we can do a whole lot. Feed a lot of poor with that and restore a lot of communities.
Right.
But then more than 10,000 people die in an alcohol impaired crash every 51 minutes.
Tracy, did you read about the young lady whose sister just last week, in the last couple of weeks, her sister on the way home from work was killed by a drunk driver? Well, wait, there's more. Just less than 6 months ago, or about 6 months ago, her other two sisters were killed by a drunk driver.
Right.
And now she's saying it's to the point where she's literally afraid to ride in a vehicle herself, because she's saying, am I too now going to be injured or killed by a drunk driver?
Boy, you know, that's another topic, another segment. Generational curses. Believe it or not, they do exist.
Amazing. Amazing.
But let's take a look at that slide again. I wanted to point out one other thing at the bottom of that slide, that all 50 states, the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico have established a threshold making it illegal to drive with a blood alcohol content or concentration of 0.08 grams.
Right.
And so what I heard for the state of Maryland, or maybe this is federal, I need to go pull this out again, is that they are looking at lowering that to 0.05.
Okay.
Yeah, so I understand then what the police are saying, you know, we have that option of pulling you over, and if you blow 0.05, you're going to get arrested.
Right.
Next slide, please. So what's the problem? When we're looking at students, and regardless if the student drinks or recognize at some point in their college careers that they're going to be faced with a situation of what to do with a peer who is getting increasingly intoxicated.
Right. I mean, in most cases, that's the plan.
Yeah, the truth, all the freedom
That's
from
the plan.
home. The first thing you're going to do is drink.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? I have to say, my first year at Bowie University, you know, Tracy partied, you know. They waited till the administrators left the campus, and it was toga.
I'm not even going to tell you.
Happened in the military too. Oh my gosh. Okay. But anyway, our college students are faced with scenarios every day that has to do with underage drinking or drunk driving rather, and incidents that can lead to property damage, alcohol liability, human tragedy, and these things happen on campus to the point where some also invoke rape.
Right.
There are a lot of window falls. You know, I think I can fly, and no, you can't. And just a whole lot of other things that go on that ultimately causes a death. So young people need strategies for creating safe and responsible and social, enjoyable campus life.
And can I just throw in there that we're not just talking about college, because we don't have it on the screen, but I don't remember the statistic, but the number of young people under the age of 12 who have actually said that they have had their first drink. So it's really scary, because when you think about it from that perspective, it's almost like, well, if I start drinking in elementary school, then certainly by the time I get through high school and college, I'm accustomed to being in a scenario where either I or my friends are drinking.
Your tolerance level just allows for you to
become
consume,
desensitized.
More and more. Next slide, please. So then what's the solution? What we want to talk about tonight is TIPS University training.
Yes.
Students are in the best position to address drinking behaviors among their peers if they get this type of training, because they're close to the situation and they understand the culture, and they don't snitch. So many words, they don't snitch. They have a chance of trying to resolve it before administration or parents or other types of adults get involved. So TIPS help the students to develop their social skills and give specific information for detecting when friends are becoming intoxicated or increasingly intoxicated. So TIPS has a unique approach that brings together administration, faculty, students, and parents to help them understand.
So in other words, it teaches them what to say, how to say it, the right approaches to helping their peers understand that there's a problem.
Yes, and what to do, because some are so belligerent, you know, they are not giving up that drink. So you got to be very creative in how to divert them to think about something else or do something else. But next slide, please. So tips for the university certification. It is a 2.5. I'd like to run a 3-hour program that helps students make sound choices when faced with difficult decisions about alcohol use. And so again, we're working with the other students and administrators to give them tools to use to help calm a situation before it gets out of control. And most of the tips training provides students with the knowledge and the confidence, which is important to intervene, as well as there being 1,200 and maybe more campuses that have TIPS certification in training nationwide.
Wow. And, you know, just based on what I said earlier, I'd love to see that now increase, and maybe this is something you can work on to the high schools.
Oh, we're going to get there. Yes. Stay with us. We're going to talk about that too. But so if we look at the next slide, an additional benefit is that students learn decision-making skills that help guide their behavior and avoid consequential actions. Okay, and students
like what? Like what?
Oh, like getting arrested or having to blow $10,000 worth.
So here we go, and I'm going to go there. So we remember a case recently that was in the news, a young man coming out of a bar in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that's all I'm going to say, who got into some trouble because the authorities said that he had become belligerent after drinking, and it became a national escapade because of the way it was handled. But the bottom line is, here we go, if that young man had not been in that situation with the alcohol, it never would have happened.
And the alcohol really wasn't even part of the blow up in social media.
Totally no, of course not.
It was back to race and
But here we go.
Here we go.
If we hadn't started at point A, alcohol, we wouldn't have ended up with point B. Anyway.
Okay, so let's look at the bottom of this slide. It says, finally, tips for the university provides liability protection for both the university and its student organization. It is. And it does that by helping them document the incident so that they can protect themselves. They did everything possible to stop that person from driving or drinking.
That's good stuff.
Yes.
Right there.
And how you document is important. But next slide, please. Why is TIPS University training necessary? Okay, this is a story, true story that happened back in 1997. Suffolk County District Attorney detailed some charges against the fraternity and charged them with manslaughter and hazing. I think it was against Phi Gamma Delta fraternity. Okay. And it was involving the drinking death of an MIT freshman, Scott Kruger. And so Scott was 18 years old, coming from New York. He was given an inherent amount of alcohol at this frat fraternity party. And while at this event, the fraternity officers, the members, provided Kruger and other pledges, because he was a pledger, with alcohol that raised his blood account level to 0.401. That is more than 5 times the legal limit across the nation, not just Massachusetts. Next slide, please. So the medical examiner said that the cause of Scott's death was that he choked on his own vomit. Okay. Phi Gamma Delta fraternity was an unincorporated association, and so this association was facing criminal charges for his death. Okay. And so the charges were based on their wanton and recklessness conduct and serving him this alcohol from, I believe it was 8:30 to 11:30. Next slide, please. While they served him this alcohol, you know, he got a little sick and decided that he was going to go and lie down. And some of the representatives of the organization took him and lied him down and left him there. And
gave him a bucket and said, don't mess up the furniture.
That's it. And went back to the party. Told God. Okay, so about 8:30, the pledgers provided the group of pledgees with some more beer, and Scott's
A bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yeah, but Scott's big brother gave him not only that, but also Bacardi. See, I don't know this, which was spiced rum. Okay, so he's drinking.
Right.
Next slide, please. He started complaining about nausea, and of course, like I said, they laid him down, and he was unconscious at the time. And so after they laid him down and abandoned him, approximately 10 minutes later, he was unconscious and covered in his vomit. And so they decided to call not 911. They called campus security. And then they told the story to campus security and then had to turn around and have campus security for their call to 911.
Unbelievable.
And so by the time the emergency technicians responded, Scott Kruger wasn't breathing, his face was blue, and he had choked on his own vomit. So they rushed him to the rushed him to the hospital, where he remained in a coma for about 40 hours until he ultimately died.
Yep.
This is now 3 days later of that toxic in this system. Next slide, please. So who was held accountable? Okay, let me tell you who was held accountable. The fraternity, because they promoted and orchestrated the activities that led to his death. The fraternity, the organization, was charged with manslaughter. Hazing was a misdemeanor, and it carried penalties of a fine up to $3,000 and a year and a half in jail. And then the fine for the felony charges of manslaughter was up to $1,000. So now the fraternity is having to pay this money. The Kruger family reached a settlement out of court with the fraternity of Phi Gamma Delta, and so they, I think, settled for $1.75 million. So the fraternity agreed as part of that settlement that they were going to establish policies to encourage responsible drinking, okay, which is the TIPS program. Okay, so next slide, please. Who else was responsible for this? Okay, so we're looking at now the National Fiji, which settled for $1.75 million, sponsored Scott Kruger's doctor to have him go out and talk about responsible drinking and what some of the dangers and consequences will be if you are not responsible. But also the family was not satisfied. Thank God they weren't. They also looked at the MIT and settled for $6 million. $1.25 million went towards the scholarship in Kruger's name, and $4.75 million paid his parents for compensatory damages. Malcolm Cotton Brown Corporation, which owned and controlled the former MIT fraternity building. Yes, they were part of the lawsuit. And if we go back to the fraternity, there were 7 representatives of Fiji chapter that were also involved in this. So there were 4 officers of the House, 3 others that included the former president, the pledge trainer, and Scott's big brother. Now, whether these individuals were actually at the party or not, it did not matter. They knew the party was going on. They knew there were going to be underage drinking going on. They should have reported it, and they didn't. And the law held them accountable as well.
And there was nothing within their, their code of ethics, if you will, that said this is this behavior is unbecoming our membership.
Exactly. So let's go to the next slide. And we were talking about that TIPS training. This is something that I do.
Powerful
yes. I go around and I teach, or I can teach university TIPS training to students, whether you are in vocation school, whether you have graduated from high school, or whether you are still in high school, because part of that settlement was to take this program into the high schools as well, as the colleges and the universities. This is what I can do, and this is where people can register.
So wait a minute. Am I reading the screen right? Is that $5,500?
No, that's $50,000.
Is that $5,500?
That is a period.
Is that only $55?
Not $10,000
for 3 hours to come in and potentially save children's lives.
Let me tell you what I do.
Oh,
Now,
my goodness.
The tip certification training is 2.5 hours.
Right.
But I add in that 30 minutes because I want the parents, I want the students to hear what the other videos discuss. And one attorney addressed a room full of attorneys in a workshop, a lecture, a symposium or something. And he told them in so many words, I can't wait to sue you.
Wow.
He talked about a drunk driver who left a restaurant driving drunk, and on his way on a cold night with a 7-year-old walking home with his father just a few steps behind him, he hit that 7-year-old, and which flew his body a few miles and continued to drive. As he was going down the street, he hit cars along the street, he hit a tree, and the limb or branch from the tree went into the front window and out the back, but he kept driving until he landed at a bar, got out of the car that was crazy parked, and went into the bar as drunk as he was and continued to order. That attorney said, let me tell you something. Let me tell you why I will sue you and win. Because when I started talking about that little 7-year-old who was crying out for his daddy to help him because he was in so much pain, and every time he moved a limb, it protruded through his skin, through his body. He said, I'm going to win my lawsuit against you. And every time that parent has to go past that empty bedroom and not be able to say goodnight to his child or hug his child, I'm going to sue you and win. And it goes on. I tell the students these stories so that they can understand that it doesn't matter if you are in that party or not. If you know about it and you don't report it and something happens, not only can the person who was the victim of the drunk driver's accident sue you, but they can sue the drunk driver, they can sue the person who held the party, they can sue anybody and everybody that had anything to know about it. And again, you are in a situation where you're through paperwork, you're going to have to unravel it and determine whether or not you were as guilty as the lawyer's going to present you to be. So this is one of the classes that I teach for university students. And if you are going away to college in August and you are in the local area, I can either come to the colleges and conduct this, or you can come to my office, or I can come to your home. The purpose is to get you educated and to understand what could potentially happen, because claiming, well, I'm sorry, I drank too much, I didn't know I was drinking so much, is not going to help you in this situation.
So now, if we're going to eventbrite.com to schedule our session with you, what are we looking for there? Are we looking for MentorMe? Are we looking for tips? What are we looking for at Eventbrite?
Oh, both. It is a program that is hosted by MentorMe Drug Testing Services. You will see tips in the college students up there. All the information is there. It is a very easy registration. I am actually holding tip certification training the second Saturday, I believe, of every month up to July 2016. Because this is where my passion and my heart is. But next slide, please.
And by the way, MentorMeDTS.com is the other way that you can get more information about all of the services that Tracy offers in addition to the tips training.
Yes. And so in wrapping up this segment, you mentioned high school needs to know this. I'm doing a transition life coaching for high school, because they not only need to understand what's going on in social media and how not to put themselves out there, but I'm putting you on notice and letting you know that I'm working with the small business owners and giving them good products that will help do pre-employment testing. So if you are coming out of high school and you think you're going to get a job with that small business, if I'm in connection with them, they're going to send you to me for drug testing. If you drug test positive, you're not getting that job.
And you're not getting here we go, read between the lines. What she's saying to you is this: if you think that because your friend told you that you could drink this or take that and you're going to be able to get through the drug test,
you're not.
Guess what? Ain't gonna happen.
You're not. I got tricks too, and I've got products that will test for type of chemicals. But last slide, please, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Oh man, where'd the time go?
No, we're going to talk some more about this. Last slide, please. This is my information if you need to reach me. Again, it's www.mentormedts.com. I'm also on Twitter, MentorMeDTS, and I'm on Facebook, MentorMeDTS. Connect with me.
Please do. And if you just want to get some information, sometimes you may be in the dark, and I'll say it just like that. You may be in the dark. You may think, well, my child doesn't. My nephew doesn't. My grandson doesn't. You would be surprised. But here's the thing. Suppose your grandchild, suppose your son or daughter doesn't. Guess what? They are an excellent candidate then to be the one to get certified to help all of those that they know who do.
Right.
So, it's not like anybody is exempt from this. Whether you do or you don't, it doesn't matter. You need to get involved in such a way that we save some lives.
So just my last note, wouldn't it be nice to have a letter written from MentorMe Drug Testing Services to a potential employer to let them know that your child has drug tested clean? Yes, exactly. This is the thing that I can offer in addition to these trainings. So, William, whew, what a segment. Sir Charles and us.
I tell you. And again, the time just goes by so quickly.
It does. But we're coming back again next week, and you are going to be talking to us about identity theft.
We'll be talking about several things, but definitely identity theft. And about, because identity theft is about getting your house in order in a way in which you protect yourself from the inside out.
Yes.
And along with that, about just kind of lining things up with your life in general so that you protect yourself from the inside out.
Okay. All right. So we want to say goodbye. Eric, can you take that slide down? And we want everybody to know that between now and next week, we want you to be safe, be smart, and be healthy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.